Good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today's webinar. My name is Sumit Sharma and the session moderator at LinkedIn Local Bhilai. Today we are presenting a panel discussion on Today Don't Get Mocked Down, Acing the Interview. LinkedIn Local Bhilai is an organic meetup and community building, and the main purpose is to unite people from all walks of LinkedIn life. You get to network with the locals and visitors in your cities and meet and learn from the subject matter experts in our panel discussion, webinar, and many other things. I'd like to introduce our amazing panelists. Ms. Priti Chaudhary ma'am, founder Indian Local India and mentor to JIB Jabalpur Incubation Center, AIC Race and Mentor Card. Under her guidance, we came with the Indian Local Bhilai chapter. Mr. Prince Kova sir, founder director, Second Wind Foundry, master trainer, international behavioral skill corporate trainer, motivational speaker and business coach. Dr. Gagandeep Singh sir, director Udaan Training Services, NLP practitioner and soft skill trainer. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If attendees have any question during the discussion, please type them in the chat box. Now, without further ado, we'll turn time to our amazing panelists. The first question is for Prince sir. What type of interview should a candidate be prepared for? Is it traditional, one-on-one, panel, behavior, group, or phone or online? Over to you, sir.
Online interview, then we have panel interview, then we have face-to-face interviews, one-on-one, then we have virtual telephonic interviews as well. So if I say what kind of interviews, I would say that it's as simple as asking a bowler in a cricket field on what kind of ball a batsman should be prepared for. So I would say that the batsman should be prepared for any kind of a ball, because we cannot control the medium of interview from the interviewer's side. We cannot control the selection process of a company. So we have to be prepared for all sort of interviews, mediums that the company is supposed to follow. So virtual online interview, and in the online interviews basically, we should be prepared more at this point of time, because after the COVID, the situations have not been that favorable. And most of the employers are looking forward to create an online interaction with the candidates.
Sir, Prince sir,
yeah,
your video is not visible too.
Okay, 1 second. So,
and Gagandeep sir, you also.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I was saying that all kind of interviews are important, and whatever the case of medium of the interview may be, it's equally important for us to be prepared for everything. I cannot just single out that this is the selection process that would be beneficial for the candidates and they should always prepare for this. Because see, with the times and situations changing, we have no control over the interview process. We have all the control of how we can prepare more for the situation. So I would in fact encourage students to prepare for all kinds of processes, not just focus on one particular process, because the opportunities can come in any form. We just have to be ready for it. And very wisely someone said, that success is nothing but a preparedness when meets an opportunity. That becomes a success. So let's be prepared for any kind of an opportunity.
Yeah. And we'll turn to Gagandeep Singh sir. How important is the mock interview and professional introduction be done? Over to you, sir.
Gagan, I guess you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Sumit, for this opportunity first. And I would like to tell you that the professional introduction is the first step of any interview. Now, before coming to the professional introduction, let me tell you something about the mock interviews. The mock interviews can be termed as the orientation for the interviews. That the mock interviews actually prepares the job aspirants that what kind of interview has to be, you have to deal with. There are forms of interviews that are happening these days in these scenarios. You maybe call it as a structured interview, the non-structured interview. It can be the stress interview, and it goes on. The list goes on. Mock interview actually prepares a job aspirant, a candidate, to deal with the actual real round of interview in a very confident manner. And this is how it plays a very significant role. The colleges these days are doing a lot of mock interview sessions, but then somewhere down the line, they're not giving the candidates the opportunity to brainstorm the answers. And if the answers are not being brainstormed, somewhere down the line, they're not confident to get into the room of interview and face the questions again, because they again have the concept of mugging up the answers rather than building up the concepts. Now, talking about the professional introduction, I've heard many students, many job aspirants entering the room and saying, "Thank you so much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to give the interview in front of you." And I mean, that sounds so bad, really bad. Now, when we talk about this, professional introduction can be also termed as the formal introduction. Now, when you talk about the formal introduction, there are certain steps to be followed, and if those steps are not followed, you are out of the game. We people don't even understand, as in the candidates don't even understand that you don't have to include the family background once you are introducing yourself in the interview. There are hobbies, there are strengths, there are so many things, but every of the step, every of the parameter has a differentiation of a formal and a casual one. How do we define introduction? It can be said as a formal or it can be said as a casual introduction. The formal itself is very precise and it has to have the justification in all the points.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is common to both of you, sir. That how could do you know that this candidate will be the one, that that person is best suitable to this chair?
Okay. So in my span of, while working in Delhi for close to 15 years, I've interviewed close to 350 odd individuals, and the process still goes on. And I can say that, when you have to zero in on a particular candidate, what an organization looks at, I'll use an example. Like, you go to a tailor shop, and when you ask them to stitch your clothes, they take your measurements exactly and they make you the best fit. So when you go to an organization for an interview, you got to do your homework absolutely greatly. And the homework is, what is the job description that the company has actually called for? Then go down to the description of specification of what the desired candidate's profile is. I think that's the most critical information that people miss out. They look at, what the job responsibilities are, but they don't look at, what are the desired candidature, requested by the company. So when you go through that and connect it, and I'm again repeating the word, if you connect it with your skills, one is skills, second is with your projects or your life projects, whatever you have done. And third is if you can display any statistics, which talks about what is the kind of a difference it created or the impact it withhold. That is the time the company would start getting interested. Yeah. Now, they would only take up a candidate who's not only matching the job requirement, but would also be a cultural fit. When I say cultural fit, can he carry the brand that he's applying for? And can he carry the mindset that the organization is running? Can he uphold the values, what the organization possesses? So, the why factor is more important than what or how. Because the candidates don't focus on why should someone select me. They more focus on what should I say, how should I say it. But the most critical factor is why. So any interview, any form needs why. When the why is beautiful, I will have a candidate at any point.
Yeah. What do you?
Perfectly answered. And I strongly agree with the viewpoints of friends. I would also like to add something to it. I would like to add that apart from the cultural fit, apart from the job responsibilities, what matters the most is the attitude of an individual, the attitude of the candidate. You know what matters the most to an interviewee is we got to check up with the reality and the practical check of the candidate that how realistic is he towards the ground level. Today, the candidates, what they do is they are least bothered about the profile. They are more bothered about the salary, the compensation part, the remuneration part. Now, when you are offering a lot of money to the candidate needs to justify it. Now, how do you crack the thing? How do you have that nerve that yes, he is the one who has a right attitude towards the professionalism, the one who is adaptable in all the odds and all the rough situations of the company, the one who knows how to learn and grab the opportunity will be one who would be fit for the company. Apart from this, many of the candidates, what they do is they bluff during the interviews, and their bluffs are being caught then and there, and they're out of the game. So bluffing is one thing that actually disconnects your interaction between the interviewee and the interviewer. It should not be done. So I believe attitude and realistic check would be the right answer to the question.
And again, turn to Prince sir. What is the most impressive thing that you heard sitting on the chair? What do you say?
In fact, I will go back to my interview because that is the best thing that the HR confessed, after listening to my interview, and that was the point of my selection. I applied for my first job interview in Delhi, and throughout the interview, I answered all the questions that he had. But since I had belonged to a small place called Ramkela in Odisha, and I had been to Delhi for the job opportunity, and being an engineer, applying for a BPO industry itself is a big, instability calls for, right? So when I appeared the entire interview process, the last question that he asked was that, how many times do you feel like meeting with your parents throughout the day? Okay? And, what is your plan like? How often would you require leaves to go and meet your parents? And I responded by saying, sir, I did not come here all the way to keep going back. I came here all the way to settle and bring my parents here than me going back to them over and over again. So it's like, how committed you are to the responsibility you are about to take up, and also how passionate you are about making something big out of the same company you're applying for, and how confident you are about the industry that you're applying for. So it's the trust, commitment, passion, and how much goal orientation. When you hear all these things together silently, I'm not saying I said all these things, but when you hear these things silently, like coming back to Gagan's point of view, when you hear that attitude of making something out of your own self and creating a benchmark, and rather than going back, bringing everybody to that particular town, that itself speaks about a lot of confidence. So this is something which he confessed that that's the reason I hired you. After a year-long working, I asked him, what is it that you saw in me to hire? He said that was the answer that gave me the confidence to hire. And I worked with that organization for 9 good years. So he made the right decision.
Yeah. Okay.
Finally, we got to know about Prince's success story today.
Thanks,
I would also like to quote the same thing. The most amazing thing that had happened with me during my interview, wherein I have learned a lot of things. That was when I went through the interview, it was 12:40 a.m. 23rd of December in Delhi. Imagine, guys, 12:40 a.m. and it was a UK-based organization. We were the 11 of the final candidates, and I was the final person to get into the interview room at 12:40 a.m. to give my final interview. the most amazing thing that had happened with me was the, the aggression in the faces and in the eyes of the panelists. That we are sitting without even having dinner, and it's damn 12:40 a.m. Now this guy again would come and would, have that Takaro fine wala thing for another 30-40 minutes. The first thing that he asked me was, you being a Sardarji, you are going back to your business and do a lot of transport thing. How can you survive in the industry? And what is your role here in the job? You go back with your trucks and do your transport work. And I, in a very humored way, answered him, sir, I agree to you that we are the ones who are into the transport majorly, but we are the ones who let your product reach to the final consumer. If we are not there, you guys would be in trouble. So we are born with that supply chain management by birth. And from there, it cracked. After a couple of questions, a question came to me was, you are an amazing guy with a super mindset. Now the thing is, when you are promoted year after year, and you have to leave the company and get to the other company, how would you convince the other company that why did you leave the previous job? And I answered it in a way that they were amazed, that they were all smiles. I personally believe that interview is just the play of words wherein you got to connect with the other person, with the panel. And if you're not able to connect with the panel, you're not going to do anything in life. So they answered me how the other person would trust you that you have left the job there and you are not going to leave us early. So I just said that, sir, if I go and criticize the management of my previous organization, that would be unjust, and I wouldn't do that. So what are you going to do? So I told them, sir, my situation here goes like a diversity women living in the society. I am a diversity woman living in the society who has been separated by the husband. And male-dominant Indian society, if a couple is separated, majority of the blame goes to a female, provided if she is not wrong also. Then I said to him, sir, my situation goes like a, separated woman living in the society who is looking forward to get remarried again. And the only qualities and potentials of mine would be judged by the other person, as in my would-be husband, if I get married to him. So please marry me and give me the opportunity to show my caliber and potentials to you. And then and there, the person said that you are in. So this was something, a wow factor that an interviewee looks for. He needs something extraordinary wherein you can connect management with, wherein you can connect a lot of work, the administrative part to it. This is it.
So now, Gagan, we are happily married as an entrepreneurs. Huh?
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. And return again to Gagandeep sir. How should the candidate deal with their nerves?
See, I have previously answered it. I'm sorry. I personally believe that attitude check is one of the most important check. And coming straight to the content part, the knowledge part, knowledge is something that is never ending and you have to keep learning. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? Yeah. So you got to upgrade yourself year after years with every new thing coming up. We as the trainers, Prince as the trainer, I personally believe that we are upgrading ourselves over the period of time. The new courses, the new modules, and here we go. So the more we learn, the better we are able to express ourselves in front of the coming candidates, the coming future for the country. So I believe that knowledge upgradation, the content check, the attitude, and not bluffing would be the right answer to it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And let me turn next to Prince, sir.
Same question.
Yeah.
Same question. Has been what Gagan just answered.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to what nerves are basically. I mean, and why do we have the nerves? And if you remember your college days, when you go for the examinations, and if you have read the book, in parts by doing selective study, like we normally do it. So those guys are the ones who are praying the most, outside the examination hall, that whatever I have studied, oh God, please send me those questions. And the best part about interview is you don't have a syllabus. And when you don't have a syllabus, the only great thing you can do about yourself is start preparing yourself. And your first question, your second question had that, mock interviews. So if you are very frequently doing the mock interviews and you're frequently recording yourself with answers and questions and allowing people, once again I'm repeating the word, allowing people to challenge you, allowing people to grill you, that is the time the reflection helps you to reach up to that level. See, where does the confidence comes from? It does not come from having all the answers. It comes from the efforts that you have made to reach to those answers. So as long as you are preparing and practicing, let me use the word practice. Trust me guys, me and Gagan and even include Tony Robbins and big speakers of this world, they still have the nerves. When they go up to the stage, they are still scared. And let me tell you, Tony Robbins has a specially designed methodology for himself. He jumps on the tarpaulin before he takes. Always also had been nervous in our initial days. But what has happened is with time, we have not left practicing. And we were willing to invest in the process. We were not more driven towards the results. We did not plan to become millionaires, but we wanted to invest our energies into what makes a millionaire. Are you getting it? So believing in the process is very important. Don't get into the interview room by thinking whether I will selected or not selected. Just ask yourself this question. Would I be entering to get a lifetime experience to come back with? That's it. You are not going to just get it. It is an output. Selection is an output and it is not in your hands. Performing is in your hands. Even Tiger Woods, when he plays golf, you must have noticed the last shot that he plays, he doesn't even look at the ball. He goes around and keeps shaking hands with others. Where did he get this confidence? He was interviewed. The first question was put by the interviewer and he asked, Tiger Woods, what makes you so confident? He said, there are 3 principles I follow. And the first principle is practice. The interviewer asked, what is the second principle? Please let us know because the world is dying to know your confidence. He said, the second principle is practice. He said, what is the third principle, sir? Please tell us. He says, the third principle is practice. So all I'm saying is, nothing can beat practice. And if you are not practicing, that is the only reason you are not confident. That is the only reason. Nothing can beat practice. So nerves are controlled by practice. And second is, you should have a self-love sheet for yourself. I'm giving you some practical solutions. Have a self-love sheet. There are a lot of things you have done in your life. There are good things in your life that you've done. So what have you observed in yourself as attributes, as qualities, like persistence, like problem solving, like teamwork, like conflict management, like result orientation? It can be anything, but make a list of all those things that you love about yourself and put it at a place in your house, design it, put it at your place where you can see it on a daily basis. And before sleeping every day, write one additional quality you observe in yourself today. When you start writing like this, your brain is tuned, your brain is programmed to find good things within yourself. We feel not sufficient, and that is the time we feel, our nerves are getting us. And the other thing that I can suggest is go for a run. Every day, go for a run. The physiological change does give rise to a mental change. And the more you are working out, the more you're exercising, your brain will start opening up to new challenges. And this is a scientifically proven fact. So these are few things which people can basically practice.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Perfectly answered. I would like to add things to it. As he said that practice and practice makes everything possible. I really follow Swami Vivekananda a lot. And he has written few golden principles of life that if any of the individual follows those principles, there would be someone who would be huge, millionaires. Firstly, he said that words alone cannot create impression. Your personal magnetism creates an impression, immense impression. One. As he said that, Prince also said that one has to be physically very active, very energetic. So you have to have that personal magnetism in you, that you are ahead of everyone. The biggest competitor of yours is yourself. Every passing day, if you compete to yourself, you will win. But the moment you start comparing and competing with others, you will pass for a day, but another day you will fail. And that would be wrong. Compete with yourself to move ahead in life. And the most important principle that I always follow of Swami Vivekananda is the one who is the master of his own mind can be the master of whole world. But the one who is not the master of mind can never do anything in life.
Beautiful, Gagan, beautiful. So with Gagan saying, one can be the master of his own mind. So one of the principles of practical exercises which I do is, I'm going to share from my experience. I maintain a journal of reflection. And what I do is, in that journal, before I sleep every day, I think about a particular incident that was significant today, which impacted me. Either it can be positive, either it can be negative, which impacted me. So I write only two things. One is what I did into that incident. And second is, what is it that I could have done better? So when I write this, your subconscious mind never sleeps. You should know that. Even while you sleep, it never sleeps. And when you don't sleep, that thought goes into the subconscious mind of improvisation. And next time you face a similar situation, your better response is naturally programmed. So once you follow this small thing, what happens is you start looking at instances to learn, not to feel bad, because you will get into the habit of training your brain. See, what we call an act of 10 minutes of confidence in that interview, let's understand it takes years of practice. The Guinness Book of World Records of Usain Bolt of few seconds is broken in practice. It is just declared in the Olympics. Let's live with it. And in case we don't practice, let's not even think of nerves. We are getting into a bigger nerve. And that would be difficult to have. So the only answer to this is practice. And that will take you far higher. And like Gagan said, self-improvement, absolutely. The only thing that you have to ever compete with is yourself and today. Because everybody has a better, dad. Let me just tell you, in not those many words. I can be best in Raipur, Gagan can be best in India, but we will find someone who will be better than us in this entire globe. Okay? So I will continuously be stressed out, burned out, because I will be comparing. So one small thing which I want to give as a mantra is, stop proving yourself. That is where we are stuck. Don't prove yourself, just improve yourself. And don't compete, but start contributing to your life. And that is the time you will see a 360 degree shift in all that you do.
Yeah.
$1 million statement, Prince.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is a question from attendee, the Ayush Nair. His question is, how to get hired or selected in the most hard competitive generation?
Okay. Who should answer this?
Good. Gagan, I'm just trying to see where the question is actually. Yeah.
Ayush, you said, right?
Yeah, Ayush Nair.
Hi Ayush, pleasure having you here with us. The most hardest competitive interview. Don't you think that you yourself has created a hurdle to clear an interview? The word impossible itself says that I am possible. When the word impossible says I am possible, there is nothing that cannot happen. It is just that if you are ready to face it, accept it, that whatever happens, we'll go with it. In the terms of NLP, as I've been an NLP coach for the last 5-7 years now, there's a therapy that we call, that is called as mind-to-muscle therapy, mind-to-muscle activity. The brain is on the top, but the thoughts moving inside gives the energy from top to bottom. The most hardest competitive interview is nothing. It's just your potential, it's just your caliber. And the mind-to-muscle activity, the mind-to-muscle therapy says that I can do it, I have to do it, and I will do it. The moment you have this willingness, the urge to jump and get the opportunity for yourself, there is nothing that is hardest competitive interview. On the grounds of the content, I would request you to go thorough with the profile, with the job responsibilities, and most importantly, your communication. Yes, communication skills plays a very important role when you're going for an interview. See, a full stop and a comma can differentiate the meaning of the sentence always. Your pauses while speaking can create impressions. You got to learn on this note that how important and effective communication skill is and how are we going to present it. As I said it earlier, interview is nothing, it's just the play of words. The moment we take it as a very serious session that would grill us, we are going to spoil ourselves. But if we have this concept in our mind that we are going ahead to express ourselves, our ideas, our opinions, our knowledge with the person who is more competent and sitting on the other side of the table, everything would be possible. I hope I'm able to, answer your question. I hope you are understanding my answer. Thank you.
So let's have a response from Ayush. In case Ayush has listened to us, let's have a response from Ayush on the chat box if he has understood what Gagan has taken so much of time to explain. Okay. All right, we are not getting any response from Ayush. Just a request to the participants, please. Once you are asked a question and someone is taking an effort to reply, please respond if you have understood the answer. That helps us in confirming that you're making the efforts in the right direction. Thank you, Ayush.
Yeah. One suggestion to all the attendees: if you want or if you are comfortable to open your video, you can do. Yeah. So the question to you, Prince, sir, what are the common things could go wrong during the interview?
I think this thing we have covered in bits and bits already, but I'll still, for the note of everyone, I would like to repeat a few things. The first thing is what could go wrong is your dress code. I mean, in case you are not dressed as per the brand you're applying for, and you are not feeling the best in the clothes, because the clothes are not clothes. Let me just mention that here. They are your mindsets. It talks about what you want to feel about yourself. It talks about how you are taking this interview process. It talks about, do you really wanted to come for this particular selection process? In fact, I have rejected a few candidates only based out of the dress codes. Trust me, no matter they can be very, very knowledgeable, high scorers. Yeah, we have some guests here. Yeah. So one is this. Second is get.
Hello. Sorry, sir. Yeah, you continue.
Can you mute everyone, please?
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
There is a disturbance.
Yeah, this is a conscious and deliberate disturbance, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right. So when we move on to this aspect, the second one is have I got the resume correct? I mean, a lot of times I have seen students applying for a different job profile, while the career objective is basically for the previous job profile. And if my career objective is not in lines with the profile I'm applying for, instant disconnect happens with the candidate. It clearly confirms the person has not gone through our company details. The third one is get your documents in order. The file that you carry, it should have all the documents like your resumes, your achievements, your internship, your project certificates, whatever things you have, place them in order. Trust me, I gauge a student's organizing capability by asking a document and how much time he takes to fetch that document from the file. I will gauge a student's organizing capability to that. The next part is, how do you enter the room? If it is a noisy entry, for me, you are already a Nausicaa, to be very honest with you. The other thing can be your communication skills. And you know, the problem is not with communication skills. Sometimes it is the lack of clarity. And if I am not clear about what you know about yourself, if the first question you are not able to structure it, I mean, when I ask you, tell me something about yourself, if you don't structure it, and if you don't align your strengths to my skills I'm needing for, then it's very clear, in that case, you are a disconnect candidate. Third, I want to see a congruence. I would highlight this word, please, here. It's called congruence, which you will not get in any of the YouTube videos or anywhere. Congruence is a word which says that whatever I speak, my heart feels and my body expresses. Okay? My tone would express what I feel, and my body language would talk about my feelings realistically. Okay? So it means my body, my thoughts, and my tone are in one line, which means I mean it. When I say I'm good, I'm quite confident in nature, or my friends say I'm extrovert and I'm looking down when I'm saying this. It's very simple, I don't mean it. When I say I'm energetic and my voice is very low, when I say I'm energetic in nature, it doesn't mean anything to the interviewer because you're disconnected. It's like, going to someone's funeral and they cracking a joke. It is as discrepancy, as it can sound. So one has to align himself. Third is, if you don't know about the organization, half of your answers will be out of place. You will never be able to connect with the organization and their, requirements. And last but not the least, I personally feel, if towards the end, when an interviewer asks you, what is the question you have for me? And if you ask that question, that, sir, can you please help me with the feedback from this interview? You are already rejected from that interview. Okay? So feedback is not something we should request at the end. You should request at the end, what is the career roadmap looks like for a candidate who joins in this profile? So what are few achievements which are recently organization is aiming for? What are few training programs the candidate will be going through when he joins your organization? How does the growth roadmap looks like? These are few valid questions which you can ask. And there can be hundreds of things, okay? There are sometimes grammatical mistakes in the resumes which at times the organizations do not entertain. So see, why I'm saying that, it can be very small thing, but why I'm saying this? Today we have so many tools, Grammarly, online, English Guru, what is not available. But if I'm not using it, I'm not taking the process seriously. Someone needs a sincere and a honest candidate for their organization. And the best answer is, ask yourself, if you are the owner of an organization, what candidate you would like to hire? Even Ayush's question, when he says the toughest interview, I'm asking you one question. If you are an owner of an organization, what kind of candidate you would look for? And trust me, half of your answer, you will get it. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'll rest my voice here.
There is another question from Aditya Tiwari. We'll all know that to achieve something big, we have to leave our comfortable zone. How to actually live it practically? Yeah. Over to you, sir. Gagan, sir.
Okay. What exactly is a comfortable zone? I feel the comfortable zone is wherein you are able to move out with your friends to hang out. The comfortable zone is when your father is a millionaire and is giving you thousands of rupees as your pocket money and you are going out chilling with your girlfriend or whatnot. Comfort zone is challenging yourself with the task that you know that you cannot do it, but your aggression towards it will make it possible for you. Challenging yourself in a better way, challenging yourself in a very practical way is more like moving out on the course path without carrying your footwears. And that can be practically done when you have that ground reality. Today, what I see in all the candidates who are preparing for the competitive exams, they actually need vehicles, the two-wheelers, the four-wheelers to go to the coaching centers. And if they don't have the four-wheelers or two-wheelers, provided if they are used by someone in the family, they are missing their sessions. This is one thing that stops you to move out of your comfort zone. There would be distractions, there would be detachments when you will study, when you are trying to learn something. The word no, N-O, no, is the biggest answer that would kill all the interruptions. But again, being in the comfort zone, having this mindset that we'll do it later, let's go out with the friends and chill, brings you back and make you sit in the comfort zone again. Having a mindset of preparing the examination a night before is a challenge. But I believe it's more of something that you are taking things granted for. So this is actually wrong. And it does not only happen in the professional life. See, I tell you what, our lives are divided into 4 phases: personal life, family life, work life, and social life. Now, everything depends on your scheduling and priority. The moment we learn to schedule our priorities, the very same moment we'll come out of our comfort zones and will make things happen for us. That's it.
Very well explained, Gagan. Sumit, if you allow, I would like to come in with 2 or 3 things, which can help. What was the candidate's name, please, who asked this question?
Aditya Tiwari.
Aditya. So Aditya, just a small thing, okay? Change has to be very, very small, but it got to be continued. So if I want to change the world today, it's not going to happen. And if you want to change your personality entirely, just by challenging yourself today, trust me, you are setting your path for failure. Okay? So how do we start? Let me tell you how I started change in my life. When I wanted to change anything, I would not brush my teeth with the right hand. I would start brushing my teeth with the left hand. And that's when the brain starts getting uncomfortable. And when you start doing it, it sends up a signal to practice it because the brain is designed for comfort. Trust me. Trust me, if you want to go for a jog, don't keep your track pants and shoes in the other room. Your brain will give you 1,000 reasons why not to go to that room. So let me tell you, there is a principle called 5-second principle. When you wake up in the morning and you're not able to wake up, just count in your mind 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. And get up and do whatever you have to do. If you wait for the 6th second, the brain starts reverse gearing you in the domain of comfort. And let me tell you what, it will give you 1,000 reasons why you should not wake up or why you should not go for a jog. Okay? So let me tell you how I started this thing. I used to keep my track pants under the pillow. I used to keep my shoes right next to my bed so that I don't find an excuse to go to the other room. The book I want to read, I keep it with my pillow. I don't keep it right in front of me as well. I keep it under my pillow. The other thing is, whenever you want to try something different, let me tell you, even Hanumanji had all the powers, but he needed Jambon to remind him. Why do you think in gym people have partners? Because if I fail, sometimes I also need motivation. If I'm a motivational speaker, does not mean I'm a guaranteed motivational speaker. I also may have my challenges. That's the time I need Gagan, where I can speak to him, springboard, right? So get into alignment with someone who's an expert. I'm being very honest with you today. Get change in your friend circle. If you want to develop great communication skills, start making friends with those who are expert in it. And I'm telling you, the power of association can challenge any habits any day. That's the power of association. Like a droplet of rain, when it comes down to earth, the drop is very pure. But when it goes to the drain, it becomes rain. When it goes on the leaf, it becomes a snow. Okay? So dew drops. So the point is, it was pure, but the association spoiled it. So my bigger question to you would be, ask yourself, why do you want to change what you want to change? And we are not convinced, believe me, we don't want to change. We want to stay the way they are, we are. We just try to find a better excuse. That's it. We are telling a lot of stories to ourselves. And what you have to do is, you have to make a better association. And second is, write down somewhere. Half of the decisions are not taken in mind. The world doesn't understand this. Harvard Business School, only 4% people, 4% are doing what they really wanted to do before joining Harvard. Because they wrote their goals. We don't write it. And when we don't write it, there is no commitment. They are just thoughts. Khayal. They're not goals. They're thoughts. So when you want to change anything, write. And write 10 reasons why do you want to change this in your life. And then write down what will happen to your life if this thing does not change in you over a period of time. What are the few consequences you would have to face? You know what? Your mind is yet to get convinced. And unless and until it is convinced, it will not take action. People who say, I cannot find time to jog, because I have so many things to do. I have to take care of my family and all that stuff. All jazz. Ridiculous. Trust me, if the doctor tells you today, sir, your heart rate has increased to a level. If you don't go for a jog, you can have a heart attack anytime. Trust me, the same guy you will find in the jogging track tomorrow at 5 a.m. without the alarm clock. We understand consequences. We don't understand comforts. We understand consequences. But this bugger is designed for comfort. You got to know this. Either you train it or it will train you. And if you're struggling, it has trained you. And we are only the slave of what we have practiced. We are no one else. So wherever you are, it is a practiced behavior. It is a practiced skill. If you are fat, you have practiced to be fat. You are not naturally fat. You are practicing bad habits. That is why you are fat. So learn that and take 100% ownership of who you are and what you can become. What we do is we blame situations. Stop doing that. Take charge. That is the time the change happens. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is a last question from
I
Sakshi. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to just add one more thing to a beautiful answer given by Prince. He has covered all the aspects, all the aspects. The only thing I would request all the attendees today here is, guys, please, please stop making timetables. Please stop making timetables for yourself. 8 to 10 I'll study, 10 to 12 I'll go out and I'll have breakfast and whatnot. The moment one of your slot is broken down, the entire schedule for the day is gone. Don't do that. Stop making timetables. Instead, get yourself involved in the things that you have missed during a period of time because of certain circumstances. As Prince quoted, that if you are missing your job, get up, provided the time has gone. But you got to punish yourself for this, that today if I have missed early morning, no matter what, I'll go out for the job and from tomorrow, I'll be on time. And this is how you jump out of your comfort zone. Thank you.
Get a partner, get a partner. Absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, we are getting close to the
Me and
end.
Gagan are partners.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Actually, we are getting towards the close. And there is a last question from Sakshi.
Can I speak with you?
Yeah.
Sir, as Prince said, sir, it was like I am self-practicing the left-hand thing you told, that you toothbrush by left hand. I also practice even by writing single papers with my left hand, and it helped me practice more difficult tasks as well.
I'm sorry. So what is happening when you said, yeah.
Yes, sir. As you told that, just start by using your left hand to toothbrush your teeth. I actually implemented it in my life as well in the last month.
Okay.
And apart from that, I also used to write single pages of paper by left hand, and it eventually led me to solve more difficult tasks as well.
Very nice. So it helped you, right? Which means it helps.
Yeah.
Super. So we have a testimonial here on the philosophy. Well done.
Thank you, sir, for sharing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. With the last question that Sakshi has asked, that is how to set target as interviewer asked often. That where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 years during the interview?
So who's taking up?
Anyone, sir? Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing, that this is one of the most common question that I have found in all the interviews. The interview is like 5 years down the line, where do you wish to see yourself? And there's a very puppy joke floated on the WhatsApp that said, do you know what is the news for tomorrow? No, we don't. Do you know who's going to win World Cup 2022? No. Then how do I know that where would be I in the next 5 years? This was one of the joke that actually came up in the WhatsApp. But Prince, over to you. Then I'll explain. I just have 2 lines on this. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that Gagan had a wonderful explanation on this. And one of my candidates replied to me when I said, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? He replied, sir, I would like to replace you. So, and I was like, okay, that's too much of an ambition. So basically, see, when you enter into an organization, you have no clue about their roadmaps. You have no clue about their appraisal processes. You have no clue about their standard measuring techniques of performances, right? So you have no specific answer in terms of position. No idea. You cannot say, I want to be a CEO. So instead of position, you have to answer in terms of responsibilities you would like to inculcate or responsibilities you would like to shoulder in the 5 years down the line. So let's say if that question were asked, a candidate can reply, I want to see myself 5 years down the line at a position where I will be becoming a go-to individual. You understand, a go-to individual? A person who would have most of the answers. I would like to shoulder the responsibility of a team to share my learning and experiences with them to an extent where we are making key decisions for the organization. I would like to be a key contributor to the profit of the organization. I would like to be an individual who would not only influence people for performance, but to become better valued human beings in life. So I can go on and on with respect to responsibilities I would like to shoulder. Let's not take the name of a designation. Okay, so designation always becomes unrealistic in terms of organizational processes because we do not know the process. Yeah, and also people don't like to keep someone who is a fan of positions. I would like to keep someone who's a fan of responsibilities because the responsibilities would earn you the designations. That is what is the current highest leadership challenge that I deal with in my leadership coachings. People want to operate through positions, and that is when they lose the essence of performances with their people. So task and relationship balance is something that they lose out. So I personally feel that talk about the responsibilities, your contributions, which you want to give with the people, with the organization, profit centricism, and also how well you want to be as an expert, over a 5 years down the line. So that is what, I personally feel can be a great answer.
Perfectly answered. I would not take much time on this. We are running short of time, I believe. But then I would just answer it on behalf of Sakshi, I guess, right? Sakshi was the name of the candidate. Sakshi, I am answering in your behalf. Sir, 5 years down the line from now, I wish to see myself as an individual who has all the responsibilities and an authority to make decisions in the company. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And great. Thank you, panelists and present attendees. We'll appreciate you on being here, and surely soon, very soon, we are coming with a new session during the in the LinkedIn local Bhilai, and don't forget to follow us on our social media, on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and be sure that there is a dot in between local and Bhilai in the Instagram because there are the fake IDs in the Instagram. So thanks again for joining us today, and thank you Prince sir and Gagan sir to be here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
much. Thank you everyone who have asked those questions and made us think. So thank you for making our lives and experiences meaningful today. Thank you everyone. Yeah.
Best wishes to everyone, and please stay safe, stay home, and don't be emotionally down at all. We are going to have a bounce back in the economy, and we are going to rock in the coming time. All the best. Best wishes to all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Gagan. Thank you, Sumit. We'll take a leave now. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.